Hello and thanks for checking out TheChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. Sign up for a 1-week free trial, no credit card required, for access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, going to look at some altcoins here today. Going to look at NEO, BCH OMG QTUM, FUN, and IOT. Some of them in comparison to BTC, some to the US dollar. And I'll decipher which is which. But starting it off with NEO, we're going to look at the daily time frames. No real long-term history on the weekly time frames for most of these names. They're fairly new. And we're seeing a laggard scenario, so to speak, where we had the first run of altcoins breaking out in a big way where, you know, Stratus was running and Golem was running and all of these names. Now they all have cooled off and they have a bunch of resistance levels. So all these traders are piling into these newer names with no resistance because everything that a bull trader wants is in a blue sky breakout. So if there's little price history, it doesn't take much to hit new levels that haven't been seen before where there is no resistance. So that's why we're seeing moves where we get 50, 200% moves in a couple of days because these coins have a lack of resistance and traders are jumping all over that. So that is this is the second wave of altcoin breakouts in my opinion, and we're also having Bitcoin at all-time highs in the process. So the space is still very, very bullish, but we are seeing different altcoins running, and it is due to the lack of resistance in those names. So for NEO here, the previous all-time high was 0.0054, and as soon as that level broke, we really started this breakout. You can see the volume started coming in anticipation of that break, and as soon as we broke it, we've now seen a month of, or actually not a month, this is the daily time frame. We've seen a week of upside with big-time gains in that week, over 100%. So we had an inside bar to be watching, and there are so many inside bar signals in this space that have been really beneficial. And I'm currently in ETH playing a 4-hour inside bar bull break. We'll see how that plays out. But here on NEO, we have 0.00599. And as soon as we broke that level, that's the bull break of the inside bar. And next thing you know, 2 days later, we're up at 12. So that's a 100% move signaled by a daily chart inside bar bull break. And from there, I came and did the video where it looked like we were toppy up at 12 with the double top. Ended up being the case where that was the top, and we pulled back significantly. I think I called for a 30% pullback. We dropped down to 0.0077 from 12. So that is over a 30% pullback, about a 40% pullback. And we're now seeing a pattern that I'm watching play out on this hourly time frame. A bit of a descending triangle pattern where I'm drawing a downtrend resistance line, making sure no candlesticks close above it. Look where we just rejected from. And we have a horizontal base of support that we're trying to build here. So watch this pattern. We'll get a bullish MACD cross on the hourly time frame if we break bullish here. I'm looking at 0.00904 as resistance. And on the 4-hour time frame, we're looking for a bullish move and a bullish reversal candlestick and follow through. So we'll have to see how we break from this pattern. If I were not in a position, I wait on the break because I want momentum here. I don't want to make an entry into a position here and then just trade sideways for 5 hours. I want my money to be working for me right away, so I wait for momentum on the bull break, but obviously that bull break has not happened yet, and we could just as easily see a bear break, which would mean we're looking down to 0.0077 and then down to 0.00767 as the next level down here. And the bulls would ideally like to hold those levels. Otherwise, this consolidation gets a bit more significant. So the daily time frame, again, the consolidation that's been going on, fairly healthy inside bars, multiple in a row now. So watch that on the daily time frame. There have been good signals in the past. Unlikely that we break this current inside bar today. We have about 11 more hours until the daily candlestick flips over again. And we'll be watching the range of today's candlestick if it does remain an inside bar as a signal tomorrow to end the weekend. Bitcoin Cash daily time frame. So we saw the sell-off with everybody locking in their profit. No surprise there. We did see a nice bounce up to 387.20. That's a new resistance level. And from there, we formed a higher low. So here's our equilibrium pattern following all this volatility and volume. Our low of the pullback, high of the bounce, higher low, and now we are in a tightening range. So the support, 265 on the dot, and resistance is 387.20. Pretty wide range. We could stay within this for another few days. And zooming in on the 4-hour time frame, we're watching that higher low. We have another support level that we can be watching here. That is at 310. And we have a couple other resistance levels to be watching. So you can see the more we zoom in, the more details we get. Another resistance level at 351.47. So even a tighter range. If you're using the 4-hour time frame, you can hone in a bit and look at some different levels. So the hourly time frame, you could even zoom in a bit further, looking at resistance of 345. But it all depends on the time frame of your trade. If I'm swing trading, I'm not paying as much attention to the hourly as I am to the 4-hour time frame. So we'll see which direction we break. The bulls are trying to see a recovery here. I'm still skeptical because I know there is still likely people trying to lock in their free coins from hard wallets and such. We're going to still have that downward selling pressure trickling in, but we could see a recovery. So certainly not going to rule that out. So far we have nice bull volume, declining bear volume, and then nice bull volume again. So that is, the volume is favoring the bulls on this pattern. But again, I would wait for a break of this tightening 4-hour pattern if I were not already in a position to have momentum in my favor right when that trade is entered. OMG. We were also looking at some toppy action on OMG when NEO was topping out as well, and we did see that top form for the rest of the day. But then the bulls showed back up again. So let's zoom in on the 4-hour time frame. We're forming an inside bar on the daily. So on the 4-hour time frame, I made a bullish entry here. I actually opened an account with Bitfinex less than 24 hours before they banned my country. So that's interesting timing, but I still get to play around a little bit and did make a trade here on OMG. I entered on the bullish break of the inside bars on these 4-hour candlesticks. So we had declining volume, tightening range after the all-time high, very clear declining volume pattern. As soon as we broke, and I was actually looking at OMG on the dollar, so I'll use that here just to show that. So that was a more clear break. I thought that 4-hour candlestick looked a little odd. So we can see the very clear inside bars, 3 in a row here on the 4-hour time frame. And as soon as we broke 606, that was the bull signal. That's when I got in, and we ran up to 775 on a big spike in volume. So a new all-time high after healthy consolidation. Hourly time frame, we can see that bull break. So healthy consolidation, bulls start to shift the momentum. There's your bull break right there with the volume coming in. And I did sell on the initial move to the upside here just under $7 as I had to go live and wouldn't be able to watch the action play out. But we did make it all the way up to 775, consolidated, lower high, higher low, and then we topped out, made another entry actually up here and took a small loss because I was looking for a new all-time high, and I entered on the bull break of this inside bar at 730. And we were looking for a new all-time high to break 775. We topped out at 762. And this is where looking at the level 2, which is the order book, it comes in useful because I saw there was a bid of 900. And actually, I'm thinking of a Bitcoin Cash trade that I was watching. But either way, just to get to that point, Bitcoin Cash had 900 bid, and it was sold into right after a bull break was made. So that was a red flag to me, and it told me we were likely to see some pullback from there. And that was what ended up happening. We didn't see that bull break materialize. So watching the fact that we had sold off from, or that those big bids had filled was definitely a red flag to me. So back to OMG, the inability to break that new all-time high after the bull break of the inside bar. We did have plenty of time to exit, break even. That's the good sign, or that's a good trade management where we had the bull break of 730, got up to 762, saw resistance, formed another inside bar on the hourly time frame, and then a bear break of that inside bar occurred at 722. So at most you're taking, a 5-10 cent loss, which is very, very minimal and very easy to make back in another trade. But that was a nice signal to exit. The failed attempt at the all-time high, the bear break of the inside bar, because shortly after, a few hours later, we had a very significant drop from those levels. So that was a red flag. So here in the short term, we got support down at 611. Trying to form a higher low right now after our lower high. So 611 support, 715 resistance. And now we're looking for a higher low here. And that is forming. And that is at 641. So that's our new higher low to be watching. Tightening range here as well on the hourly time frame as things consolidate and settle down a bit. QTUM compared to Bitcoin here. Daily time frame. Big breakout. All-time highs. And significant upside, and then consolidating. And this is a bullish doji that looks like our low of this consolidation has been set at 0.0035, and watching for some follow-through. So to get more detail, we look at the 4-hour time frame. We see a bounce at this point with high volume, but from here we have not changed the trend. It's still lower highs on the 4-hour time frame. We're going to have to consolidate, form a higher low compared to 0.0035, and then break the high of this initial bounce attempt at 0.00 0.44 and rounding a little bit there. But that's the key resistance that we need to break to form a higher low and a higher high. Look for a bullish MACD cross to follow through again and indicate that our consolidation for this time period is done for now. So the volume would have me looking for that higher low to form and just patiently waiting because it's not really convincing just yet that 0.0035 is our new higher low. Need to see that higher low and higher high follow through and head back up towards the recent breakout highs. FUN on the daily time frame, also a big breakout. Upper wicks of profit taking. So you're noticing a theme here where we do see upper wicks of profit taking on these huge big green days where we have huge volume climaxes forming, and then definitely some profit taking going on with those upper wicks. So FUN, same story, inside bar on the daily time frame forming on declining volume. The 4-hour time frame, there's our bullish reversal candlestick, not currently being confirmed, but support is, and it's going to be a decimal place here, 0.000, lots of O's, 7.3 compared to Bitcoin here. So I'm just going to eliminate those O's and call it 7.3. And we have to see a higher low and a higher high for the bulls here. It's not a convincing low just yet. It does look good for the bulls. And on these bullish candlesticks where we see the potential bottom being set, what we can do if we are more risk to reward prone traders is make an entry and then set your stop loss below this low. So if 7.3 were to break, you would be out for QTUM on the 4-hour time frame. If you were making a bullish entry on this candlestick, you would exit if 0.0035 were to break. So we do have a support level to be watching to know when to exit if we are going to continue to the downside and see lower lows. But at this point, the hourly time frame, looking for more details, we can see this bounce isn't really strong at this point. So I would need to see a higher low and a higher high in order to be confident that the bulls are resuming the uptrend, and looking for a bullish MACD cross as well. IOT, daily time frame, that's actually the weekly. Let's zoom into the daily. Beautiful, slow and steady breakout. So this is a more steady breakout where those other names go significant percentages in just one day and see an upper wick of profit taking, whereas here we have seen a 100-150% move play out over a couple of weeks. So the trend changed as soon as we broke. So we had our bearish pullback. We found support at 14.2. We saw a high of a bounce, which we're not going to change the trend coming right off that bottom. The high of the bounce was 312. We then traded sideways, and as soon as we broke 312, that's the bull signal. And look what happened with it. It was big volume, and that candlestick broke it, and then we saw that was the starting point for this breakout. As soon as we broke 312, all the traders saw it, and now we hit a new all-time high. And although we have this candlestick way up here, I'm disregarding that big upper wick. This is an all-time high as far as I'm concerned, and we're heading back towards that level. This daily chart is at the high of the day, and the bulls are still showing strength. So the 4-hour time frame, we consolidated. We formed an inside bar, and then we saw a bullish break of the inside bar and some slow and steady upside action. It's still very low volume, so it's not convincing just yet, but the bulls are fairly close here. And if we can see a break of 717, we will be looking at new all-time highs again and continuation. If we cannot break that level, we'll be looking at an equilibrium pattern with our high. Low of the pullback, support is down at 5.7. We'll look for a lower high if we can't break this level, and then the bulls will have to pull back and form a higher low somewhere in the low 60s. So that's what we're looking at with a bunch of altcoins that have been running significantly. I would be cautious on NEO and OMG because they had their time to shine over the last couple of days. I do believe that they are going to consolidate a little bit. There's definitely bullish trades to be had there, and we were actually on this NEO bounce. Let's look at this NEO bounce because it was a fairly clear bounce to be looking for. So I called out for a NEO bounce from 0.008. That's when I said to start looking for this bounce. And that was because of the support here and because of the extended move to the downside. I was looking at the 15-minute time frame getting oversold, and I saw this support down here at 0.0077. So I said to myself, okay, psychological 0.008 would form a higher low. We did end up dipping right down to that 7.7 level and bouncing off that level as support. But that had us looking for this bullish entry, and even if you did make that 8 entry, of course, we're now up. We made a bull move up to 10.7. So very nice gains in the short term, over 25% to be had. So there's definitely trades to be had while we consolidate. But in terms of a blue sky breakout and significant bull moves, I think NEO and OMG, their time to shine has passed a little bit in terms of the short term, looking into the next few days and into next week. And names like IOTA is closer to a blue sky breakout, and other names, most of them are consolidating. So the majority of our wave, the second wave of the altcoins running, is coming to a consolidation point, in my opinion. So keeping a close eye on some of these other names, the big three, obviously. Bitcoin is hitting all-time highs the past 2 days. The last video I did was talking about entering a Bitcoin position right after I finished the video, which I did end up doing because of how bullish we looked. And we've seen multiple hundreds of dollars to the upside since then. And right now I'm looking at ETH, and I do have a position in ETH now. And I made that position on the bull break of the 4-hour inside bar here. Look at the 4-hour MACD. We know how that 4-hour MACD signal goes, and it hasn't given a clear signal yet. We could still reject here, but if we do see follow through and a break of 319, which is our recent high, that will give us a bull MACD cross here on ETH, and we'll see some follow through there as well. My targets on ETH are going to be 323. First resistance here, it's actually 324 if we want to round up, and then I'm looking up at next resistance after that, up at 337. So some nice upside potential. We are pretty extended on the daily time frame, having run many days in a row, but we do still have this momentum here, and obviously the Bitcoin all-time highs is only helping the space, and watching to see if we can get this follow through. So I made my entry on Ethereum here in the 314s and 315s during this consolidation, and I will exit if we break 313. I actually placed a stop loss at 312.99 overnight, and we came within 3 pennies of triggering my stop loss, and it didn't trigger, so I'm still in here as we are trying to see a break of 317.12 and 319 to get that bullish MACD cross on the 4-hour going. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. I'm going to get to working on this course now for the rest of the weekend. Certainly doing my best to get that out as soon as possible, but also want to ensure quality content as well. So thanks for tuning in. I will certainly let everyone know when that course is done, aiming for the end of August still. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you soon.